This huge NASCAR crash happened due to a bad officiating call. Let me explain. This is the Daytona International Speedway, located in Daytona Beach, Florida. This is one of the most iconic tracks in the entire world, hosting two of the crown jewels of motorsports, the Rolex 24, which is a 24-hour endurance race, and the Daytona 500, a 200-lap race around the 2.5-mile-long oval. The 500-mile-long race is the season opener for the NASCAR Cup Series and is the crown jewel of the sport. To win at Daytona is to etch your name into history alongside the greatest drivers of NASCAR. Not only is Daytona the first race of the season, but it's also the last race before the playoffs begin. Since 2020, Daytona has held the honor of finalizing the 16 drivers who raced for the title, and it is the most chaotic race of the entire year. By winning the race, drivers who are outside the top 16 in points get their chance to battle for the championship at season's end, and because of that, they will do whatever it takes to get to the checkered flag first. This usually ends up with large accidents happening due to aggressive driving, such as last year in 2023 when Ryan Preece infamously barrel rolled down the back straightaway. Levels of aggression to this were seen in the race that took place a year prior in 2022. It was August 27th and the NASCAR Cup Series was in Daytona for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. There was still a feeling of the unknown surrounding this event, as it was only the second time that the Cup Series was heading to Daytona with a brand new and problematic next-gen car. The new car was implemented at the beginning of the season, getting its first real test at the Daytona 500, which ended up being leagues ahead of the previous year's rendition of the race. Along with the improved racing at the super speedways, the 1.5-mile-long ovals also saw a dramatic increase in popularity as the racing was unbelievably incredible. However, the downside of that might just outweigh the positives, as short tracks became unwatchable with drivers not being able to pass. Tires were falling off, fires broke out randomly inside the cars, and worst of all, driver injuries had become a lot more common. So when it was time for Daytona, drivers had to implement extra caution to make sure that nothing unexpected could happen to their cars or themselves. However, NASCAR's mortal enemy since the inception of the sport decided to arrive that weekend, which was rain. The track was completely soaked and was forced to be postponed to the following morning. What was supposed to be a Saturday night race turned into a Sunday morning race. The race would begin and stay green until 5 laps to go in the first stage, when the first incident of the race would occur.
Around goes the 11, the 20 also around. Ryan Blaney caught up in this in the 12.
Right here, they're wrecking.
Truex
Up as you can. Nothing's gonna hit you here.
barely working his way through there.
After this, they would clean everything up and end up racing still with high levels of aggression, but they still kept it clean. There would be more incidents throughout the race, such as this one with 36 laps to go where Chase Briscoe almost went upside down, but that would be small compared to what would happen 13 laps later. Even though the area surrounding the track was dry enough to start the race, rain was quickly coming back and was getting closer and closer as time went on. Because of how the rules work, since the race was past halfway, whoever was in the lead when the caution for rain came out would be in prime position to win the race. The drivers knew just that, and even though we're over 25 laps to go, they would treat each one as if it was the final lap. With 23 laps to go, the majority of the field was 3 wide when they entered turn 1, and then the unthinkable happened.
He's got some help with him.
Oh, into the wall they go. The 11 now also caught up in it.
The whole
Haley. The 3 of Austin Dillon squeezes through. He is in front. And look at virtually the only car to clear it.
Unknown to the NASCAR officials, it had began to rain down in turn 1, with each and every car in the front hydroplaning due to lack of grip. It was unbelievable to witness, as NASCAR usually knows when rain has hit the racetrack, with people stationed around the track to notify NASCAR when it starts to rain. Drivers were even notifying NASCAR that the rain was starting to hit the track, but they didn't do anything about it, and thus this happened. Drivers that suffered large impacts reported that they had major headaches after the crash, which was extremely concerning to hear, as that could be a sign of a potential concussion, which happened to Kurt Busch earlier in the season after a wreck at Pocono. Fans went onto social media to vent out their anger, saying how NASCAR officials made the sport look like a clown show and a disgrace to one of the biggest events of the season. The race would be red flagged for hours as they dried the track, and once it got back underway, only 8 cars were really competitive enough to fight for the win. It would be the number 3 of Austin Dillon who would win the race and lock himself into the playoffs, but in all honesty, I think a majority of people forgot that he ended up winning this race. The massive crash that happened fed people up, as not only was it a horrible look for the sport, but the safety of the drivers were put at danger because NASCAR didn't want to throw the caution that would more than likely end the race. After practically the entire field wrecked, they had no other choice than to continue the race no matter how long the delay was because of what bad taste would have been left in the fans' mouths. Thankfully, NASCAR would learn from this experience and be more alert on knowing exactly when the rain hits the track and being more strict when throwing cautions out for weather. And that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. Take care.